Afternoon, San Francisco Bay Area moms. I am here with Dr. Ann J-Ram. She is one of our contributors and our beauty expert on staff. And welcome to the holiday extravaganza. And today is brought by Dr. Ann and her EllevateMD. So we're here to talk about, wow, moms over the last 9 months or so might be looking a little more ragged. COVID-19 and working from home and distance learning and everything is kind of taking a toll on us, and it is about time that we do something for ourselves, and the holidays are a great time to gift yourself the gift of beauty and just making yourself feel good and elevating your just your sense of style and beauty. And again, it's a great time for a gift. So, Dr. Ann, what can we do, especially like for the eyes and the face, and just to kind of lighten yourself up? You want to look good on a Zoom call, or just to feel good about yourself?
Yeah, well, first I'd like to thank you for having me. This is very exciting. One of the few non-Zoom things I've done in a long time. So I'm very happy to be here. Actually, here in my own home condo office, which we'll get to in a minute. But you asked such a relevant question. We are living in the world of masks, right? And my practice, lucky for me, has never been busier, but it is because there is a focus on how our eyes look these days. We're covering our noses, we're covering our mouths, and now people are staring at eyes a lot. Not only other people's eyes, but on Zoom meetings, there's interesting studies showing that with tracking, you're actually looking at your own eyes. So there is this sort of focus. And my practice, called EllevateMD, actually focuses on a couple things. I thought it was a cute name because I lift eyelids for a living, so Elevate. Elevate I spell with 2 L's. I'm very, very into women's empowerment, professional women, moms who work really hard, who try to make themselves beautiful. And so, for both of these reasons, I think this is like a spot-on topic to be talking about right now. The other reason I really want to kind of be the one to chat about this is I really believe in natural and conservative results and looks, right? So I'm sort of that plastic surgeon who really just wants to give you a glow up, not like a major pull change, big sort of procedure. So I'm going to talk about my favorite thing to do in the office first, and then we're going to go on to many other little things, okay? My favorite thing is my signature procedure called the Elevate Lid Lift, okay? So I do this slightly differently than most plastic surgeons. I do this in the comfort of my own office in about 20 minutes. You can drive yourself there, you can drive yourself back, and what we're doing is just removing a sliver of skin from the upper eyelids. So that sounds scary, that sounds like surgery, but really what we're doing is kind of eliminating a wrinkle above the eyelids, making the eyes look a little bit more open, a little bit more awake, a little bit more alert, and my favorite word, a little bit more rejuvenated.
Wonderful.
So this is done completely under local, so we're not giving you anything systemically, you're not altered. A couple little shots of lidocaine, dissolvable stitches, about 5 days of downtime. And so I'd highly recommend, if you want to know a little bit more, check out my website, EllevateMD.com. There's a before and after gallery, and you can see what I mean by just this subtle little 20-minute in-office procedure can really make this big difference in just making you feel your best, especially in a world of mask wear.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would think that downtime would be welcome, and especially not to be engaged on camera, but also the holidays are a perfect time to kind of do that anyway.
Absolutely.
Things are naturally.
The holidays are a perfect time, and COVID holidays are an even more perfect time, right? So, I used to, prior to COVID, I really prided myself on having very minimal downtime. I think different surgeons have different techniques, but I've really perfected the art of not mucking around too much, knowing what I'm doing, getting in there, being efficient, and really minimizing the patient's bruising and swelling and downtime. But now, those 5 days, people are like, fine, what was I going to do in those 5 days anyway? So, I think both the combination of COVID and holidays and having a surgeon who kind of minimizes your downtime anyways, all the perfect situation.
Excellent. So what else can we
Yeah.
do? Not only for the eyes, but for anything
Yeah.
that we're looking to
Yeah.
second.
So, I like to say that I have a very, very minimal menu, but the things that are on my menu, I'm the best at. So, just to give you a little bit about me, I'm a board certified eyelid plastic surgeon. So, the only surgeries I do are upper and lower eyelids. I'm going to touch very briefly on lower eyelids, but then I'd like to really spend some time talking about the easier, more non-invasive things we can do that we could do, repeatedly to make ourselves kind of always feel glam. So lower lids are usually a thing we do when we have genetic bags. So people who have fat protrusion on their lower lids. And it's not an age thing. You can have them at 20, you can have them at 80. It's really genetics. And sometimes fat comes through. And one of the things I do in my practice is I go in and remove that fat. Now that is also a surgical procedure. A lot of people are getting it done during COVID. Just because the healing time on that is a little bit longer, it can be about 10 days. And so that is a popular procedure, but again, that's a real surgery.
Mm-hmm.
And so those are it. And upper, lower, that's my surgical menu. But I'd like to talk about some little tiny tips and tricks that a really good plastic surgeon can do. That's not surgery, that can make you look awesome.
Perfect.
So I'm gonna first start with Botox, okay? You can get Botox almost anywhere, you can see signs everywhere, but that's kind of like saying you can get a haircut anywhere, right? There's certain places that really know what they're doing and actually have little special anatomic tricks to really make a big difference. One thing people come to me for a lot is asymmetry correction. So that's a really specialized thing. One eyebrow seems to pop up more than the other, and we've all heard the definition of beauty has a lot to do with symmetry.
Mm-hmm.
If you divide the face, we should have two pictures of the same. And so there is really, really nice and easy ways with small amounts of product to make the eyes look similar, the brows look similar. The crow's feet on the sides of the eyes look similar. So that's something that takes 5 minutes in your doctor's office that can really make a pretty nice difference.
That's great.
Another really fun trick with Botox that not everybody does correctly, I think actually more people do incorrectly, and that you hear a lot about the dreaded Botox droop. Something people come to me a lot for as an eyelid specialist is actually the Botox brow lift. So there's a way to get 2 to 3 millimeters of an actual lift from just a couple shots, right? We're not stitching, we're not cutting. You look open and lifted from a couple shots, and that's going to last you 3 to 4 months. So those are some of my favorite things to do with Botox that I think could be really a game changer in today's world of mask wear and just kind of feeling yucky sometimes.
Right. And I was going to ask the how often should you do that? Like once you do it, you said 3 to 4 months.
Yeah. So a lot of people ask that question, and the word "should" is very relative. You can do it whenever you want to do it, because I think people are worried that if they do it once and they don't continue on with it, or they can't get into their doctor's office because of closures or whatever, what's going to happen? Well, the answer is nothing, right? So, and in today's world, I like to do all this kind of stuff to make myself feel glam and great, regardless of the climate of the world. But if you're someone who's like hermiting right now, then do it when you have the one important Zoom meeting or the one dinner outside with your friends that you want to look great for. You can plan it and then skip it for a while, But the important thing to know is Botox takes about 7 to 10 days to really set in and get your result, and then it lasts 3 to 4 months. So, time it accordingly. You're not going to do any harm by being off cycle or not carrying it on religiously.
Perfect. So what else? What are some of your other quick tips?
Another around the eye thing I do a lot of is filler. And just as a full disclaimer, at this very moment, filler around the eyes is considered an off-label procedure. All that means is the FDA doesn't have the official indication yet. I think it's in the pipeline. But what it does also mean is you really should trust that area to a board-certified eyelid plastic surgeon, just so people know what they're doing. I do that area in a really, really special way. It's really indicated for people who feel like they have dark circles or a sunken in look underneath their eyes. And what I do is use a filler. My favorite at the moment is a filler called Restylane. It's a hyaluronic acid based substance. So it looks like a gel, but it's a precursor to collagen. And so what we're doing is, the way I do this is I inject tiny little aliquots in a U-shaped form right underneath the eye to just give you a little bit of fullness, have light reflect off of the lower lid in a way that makes you look less dark circled and just less tired in general.
Right.
But the real key to this is less is more. So you really want to go to someone who knows what they're doing and also has a light hand with this.
Right. Well, and you mentioned the hyaluronic acid. Okay, perfect. And I think that's great to know, and to also talk to the doctor about the products and the what the procedure is like and what they're actually using and how that and what that's.
That's such a great point. A big part of my practice is women empowerment and education. So I don't really want you getting any procedure where you can't repeat back to me the pros, the cons, the risks, and what we're actually doing.
Right.
So my consultations are a little longer than normal, but it's great because you really walk away feeling like you know exactly what we're doing, what to expect. And you have full accessibility to me if questions can arise later. But education is such a key piece of beauty. It's not just, hey, I heard my friend did this, let me do this. It's really understanding what we're putting into our bodies, what we're putting into our faces, what could be the possible outcomes, and what we should expect.
Right, and what works for you as opposed to a friend, and to have those conversations.
Absolutely. The funny thing is, part of the education piece of this is people will be like, I think my friend got Botox and I don't like my dark circles. Can you put Botox there? And you're mixing up the vernacular of what goes where and so really, if you walk out of my office getting nothing, at least you'll walk out knowing the difference between the neurotoxins and the fillers and where they go and it really is, I think, just in today's world, it's just a thing that you should just be aware of.
Right. Well, and it empowers you then to pass that education on to a friend or to say, hey, remember when we talked about this? Well, did you know? And there's a real sense of women's empowerment in that and not just
absolutely. And in the Bay Area, the vast majority of my clients, I urge you all to follow me on Instagram. It's just EllevateMD. I always Women Crush Wednesday, right? I love to highlight these strong professional women who have these great beauty regimens on my Instagram. And the interesting thing is these are really educated women who are running boardrooms and, CEOs of tech companies and doctors and lawyers. And you gotta believe they wanna know what's going on. They're not just sitting there saying, do something to make me pretty. They wanna know.
Yeah, that's excellent.
Another thing I wanna bring up for around the eyes, and actually this one extends to the full face, one of my favorite procedures I'm doing in my office these days is a laser procedure called the Fraxel. And it's really good right now because my one requirement is no sun exposure and people are kind of hibernating at this time. So it's been very popular. I do a special version of this procedure that's called the Fraxel eye strip. And it's been very popular during COVID and mask wear because we're trying to accentuate the eyes. And the way I do this is that I instill little intraocular shells into your eyes. So I do that. I'm a board certified ophthalmologist first. So I know everything about eyes, and then I'm an eyelid plastic surgeon second. So, you can trust that your eyes are going to be in good hands in my office. So I instill a numbing drop, put these little shells in your eyes, and that's the way I can actually laser as close to your eyelashes as possible without you having to wear big cumbersome goggles. So I'm instilling these little intraocular shells. I'm lasering all the way up to the lashes, the crow's feet, sometimes up about under the brow, that whole area. And what that laser does is also improve collagen. And so you're increasing your collagen production, tightening the skin. I always talk about a difference between static and dynamic wrinkles. Static wrinkles are those wrinkles we just have on our face no matter what we're doing, right? They're just there. And the laser is great for that. Dynamic wrinkles are going to be the wrinkles that we make when we smile or animate. And a little bit of baby Botox is great for that, right? So oftentimes around the eyes, the answer is going to be multiple modalities. A little Botox, a little laser, maybe a tiny bit of filler to make everything look good, but you have to know where and what and in what quantity.
And you have to seek an expert who can help you with that.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, those are some of my favorite tools in the office. I think the last thing I want to just touch on is what are the easy things you can be doing at home that don't involve a doctor? And so I am going to be one of those physicians that actually poo-poos most skincare products. Like, I will say, you're wasting your money a lot of the times I will. But I will tell you the few things that actually I do believe work, okay? So I do believe in both an AM and a PM regimen, and so I'll kind of go through that. In the AM, I don't believe spending money on cleanser matters. Buy yourself a drugstore cleanser. Cleanser is not where the money's at. You know, use whatever you want. I personally happen to use a Lancome cleanser, but you know, Neutrogena, anything at Walgreens, you're really just cleaning your face. Cleaning your face is important, but it's not where the secret scientific ingredients are. In general, you'll hear that the pattern of things should go from thin to thick. That might help you with your order of how you're applying things. And so the next thing should usually be a serum of sorts. And the gold standard in the industry is going to be a product called SkinCeuticals CE Ferulic. And so that's a vitamin C, vitamin E serum. Why do we use this? That's an antioxidant. So antioxidants, just like we want to ingest them, are going to be great for our skin in many ways. The best way I can kind of simply explain it is it's your environmental protection for the day. That's why a couple drops of it on your face is going to be your protection against pollution, smoke, carcinogens, all the things you're going out into the world and exposing yourself to. Your antioxidant is your protection from that. The next thing I do believe works if you're going to be doing some sort of moisture is a hyaluronic acid-based moisture. We already talked about that being filler. Why not smear a bunch of it on your face as your hydration, right? That can actually penetrate the epidermis and give you a little bit of a nice plump as well as a hydration. My favorite product in that category is a Skin Medica product called HA5. And then finally, sunscreen. I like to keep these really, really simple because I said most things don't work anyways. So a sunscreen, if you're going to look for a sunscreen, it should be complete. I like to put sunscreens that are physical, chemical, UVA, UVB. So there's just 4 components. And my favorite right now happens to be a SkinCeuticals product. It's called Physical Fusion. It's got a universal tint. And you wouldn't believe it, but someone with my skin tone and your skin tone would actually have the same tint, and it looks great on both of us. So that's AM. If you're doing 10 more things, throw them out and don't rebuy them because they're probably not doing much for you. In the PM is even easier. Wash your face again. Doesn't matter what you're washing your face with, but the only things that really matter at night are going to be a good retinol and a good hydrator. And so the retinol I like to use, Skin Medica 0.5. I like that one because it's medium, meaning you can put it all over your face, and I like to go around my eyelids too, even though people are somewhat controversial about retinol around the eyelids. And then finally, retinol can be a little drying, so I use a really heavy moisturizer at night. The one I like is SkinCeuticals Triple Lipid. It's just a thicker moisturizer. So if you're running through your regimen, I just want to kind of sum up. Handful of things you could be doing at home, the topical things, handful of easy things you could be doing in your doctor's office, little Botox tips and tricks, little tiny amounts of filler here and there, and then, you know, if you're not going to be out in the sun, a quick laser procedure should really only be done once a year anyways. You don't need these things done all the time. Are great, easy ways to make yourself kind of feel a little bit better right now. And then finally, if you're really up for it, I think the thing that's the best bang for your buck and the way to really, really make a difference, if you find yourself having a little bit extra skin on the upper eyelids, that elevated lid lift is magic right now. It is kind of booked until April, but we're figuring out how to fit more and more people in right now, and it's really, really a way to make a nice difference in about 20 minutes.
That's amazing. The products that you mentioned, where could someone get those?
Great question. So they're all available in my office. My office is down in Menlo Park. I do see clients here, and actually I wanted to showcase this wonderful space because every Monday and Friday I like to do what I call concierge treatments, and that includes consultations. So literally you and I could sit down just like we are right now and go through a customized forehead to chin beauty assessment. So a little Botox here, a little filler here, you don't need anything. We could go through that, and we do, I do those here in San Francisco or down in Menlo Park. I also do Botox and filler treatments here in the city. And down in Menlo Park is where the Elevate Lid Lift and the Elevate Laser take place.
Sure.
So you can get the skincare products in either location. You can also get all Skin Medica products, which I mentioned, the HA5 and the retinol, on my website for 10% off. It's www.EllevateMD.com, and that's Elevate with 2 L's. And so that's a great way to start. I would start with the products, think about the injectables, think about the laser, and then really give some thought and take a look at some before and afters to that Elevate Lid Lift.
That's excellent. Thank you so much. I do have one last question.
Yes.
Just in the time of COVID, like what are some of the, if people wanted to get any of the procedures, when they come to your home, into your office here in the city or in Menlo Park, what are some of the safety procedures?
Yes. So everything has to be algorithmically protocoled, right? So there's no difference actually in any setting. So surfaces and anything that people are touching have to be obviously sanitized prior to. We are now spacing clients out further, so there is no risk of overlapping waiting, which is actually, I think, probably one of the bigger changes in doctors' worlds, is there's no multiple people in a waiting area right now. So in some ways people prefer the home office to that because obviously there's nobody else besides us. But even in the Menlo Park office right now, we're just giving everyone 20 extra minutes in between appointments so that there's no waiting. In addition, I know we're trying to look cute for this, but it does look a little more intense. It's full mask wear, face shield, scrubs, gloves. Actually, unless I'm treating your lips, which I do lip filler and around lip filler as well, both of us are masked up. And so yeah, I'd say every office kind of has these standard protocols. Upon entering, you have to answer COVID-related questions, get your temperature checked, etc. And so it's pretty similar to any public space you go into, but because we will be treating, there's a couple additional things. So you can expect a little bit longer of a visit, but a cleaner visit and a safer visit.
Right. So don't let that be the thing that hangs you up from, and let that be part of the education that you have is what the entire process is going to be like.
Yeah, and you know what? I have to tell you, I think these protocols are going to stick. I mean, even when we have a vaccine and things like that, we're all just getting used to gearing up and spacing out and going a little slower and cleaning more. And so, I think for the foreseeable future, this is how things are going to roll. So, so you can feel safe, and I think you can feel like the city and the ordinances in place are there, to protect you.
That's great. And whether you are a CEO or a board chair or CEO of your house or working from home, whatever it is, know that you deserve the treatments, and you should take full advantage of it. And we have an expert here who can answer your questions. You can see before and after pictures. Instagram, website, at least can get you the products that you need so you can start with what's comfortable for you.
Yeah, and then I'll just quickly touch on our giveaway. I really wanted to get involved in this community, and I am really excited to offer a $500 anything of your choice kind of certificate giveaway to my practice. So I'm really encouraging you to give us a call, ask your questions. There's no fee for questions and things like that. Get your consultation, come on in, see what might be best for you, and one lucky winner will get a $500 giveaway for anything of their choice.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Of course.
And so not only to make yourself feel good, but also know that 20% of your proceeds from the ticket sales that we have are going to La Casa de las Madres. So we're helping the community here in the Bay Area as well. If you're not familiar with them, be sure to check out their website. They provide shelter for moms and their children, and they also provide a diaper bank and tons of things. So it's just moms helping moms, women helping just all of us. We're a really big community.
I love it. That's a glitter.
See you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.